G'day and welcome to another big edition of the BFNL Footy Show. Thanks to our friends at McDonald's. My name's Yeendy. I'm joined by Tara Murray from the Star Weekly. You're back on board again and we're getting ready for another big round, or we've had another great round of footy.
I know, you're calling me off the bench.
Yep, off the bench, getting the big guns ready as the finals is knocking on the door. It's coming pretty quickly. It's pretty exciting times ahead.
It is, and we've got our top six sorted as well. So I'm
a bit disappointed by it, I must admit. I'd love a bit of a. I mean, it's great for the teams that have made it, but I would love a bit of a climax heading into the finals.
So do I. It makes it more interesting that you're watching scores, seeing who's winning, who's losing in that final round. But we've got our top six, and we've got one side playing finals for the first time in a long time, and the streak's over. Sunbury Lions are not in finals for the first time since they've been in the Ballarat Football League. Well,
let's talk about the team that if results had gone their way, we might have seen this match set up in the final round of home and away season. It was Lake Windaree who were pushed early by a strong Mountain South side, securing their final spot by 49 points over the Panthers and after a pretty good solid performance.
And you look at the Lakers were probably one of the slow starters in the competition.
Spot on.
And they've found their groove, and we've seen them in the finals the last few years. I think they've been top 2, top 3, and now they've sort of bounced back that they will play finals. And in the end, it was the second half was the difference. The Lakers kicked 6 goals to 1 in that second half to have a really good win and steal up that final spot, which they were looking for.
Absolutely. And it was the win over Bacchus Marsh by a point that set up their finals run as well. They're the only team to beat Bacchus Marsh twice this year. So it's actually, no, I stand corrected, Darley have also done that. So
which is quite interesting because Bacchus Marsh sort of had the wood over Lakers the last couple of years come finals time. You've seen the Cobras that got over the top, which has been a change of fortunes for them, and it's been a really strong performance. You look, Nathan Pring and Ben Taylor were the standouts on the weekend. I think they both kicked 3 goals each, with Taylor named the best. So it was sort of their stars that really stood up for them.
East Point flexed its muscles with a big win on the weekend, and they continue to march towards the finals with great confidence and momentum.
It is. Look, you had the top side versus one of the bottom 2 sides, so it was sort of what you expected. But Redan were in it until 3/4 time. It was only a 6-0 final quarter that got East Point over the line. They probably would have wanted a little bit more convincing win, but I'm not 100% sure what the conditions were up there on the Saturday. I know they were a little bit hit and miss. I saw some lovely photos from Melton, which were covered in rain, so it tells you what the weather was like there. And in the end, it leaves that the wooden spoon fight will go down to the final round between Redan and Melton South.
They're not surprised there by Redan. They have challenged sides. It was when Shane and I were talking last week, we wouldn't have been surprised if Redan had really taken the fight up to East Point, which they did. And I think it says more about Redan in that sense as well. They're a quality side. They're the big blockbuster, the one that sort of ended up being a little bit of a fizzer in the end. But Melton flexing its muscles with a big win over the Sunbury Lions.
It is. From what I've been told, it's the first time Melton has beaten the Sunbury Lions since the 2005 Grand Final.
That is incredible.
It is. So it's been a long drought there, and it's been a long finals drought. I think it's 11 years since they've played finals, and the Bloods are back in finals. So in this one, I think the Bloods were a little bit nervous heading into this game. Obviously, the history of the Lions and their finals and the history between these 2 sides. But in the end, the Bloods blew them away late to get the win, and it was quite a convincing win in the end. So I think it sort of says where these 2 teams are at. I've seen a little bit of the Sunbury Lions late against Darley and Bacchus Marsh, and they've struggled this second half of the season. They've really struggled. They haven't been able to get the wins on the board, and you've got Melton's flying. I think it's 6 or 7 wins in a row, and they obviously take on Bacchus Marsh in that final round, which will be an interesting lead up to the finals. But for them, they're making finals. They're pretty excited.
I'm a bit surprised by that margin, to be honest. So I said last week that the winning team kicks 10 goals because it is going to be a hard scrap. But this says a lot about Melton. They're able to get a really good functioning forward line together, and they're able to kick a good, solid winning score. They haven't been a high-scoring team this year, but they've been able to do it probably when it counts, and hats off to them. That's a wonderful effort.
It is, and I spoke to Aaron Timms, and he said they found a few different forward options as well. I think Riley Walker, kicked his first ever senior goal. So they were getting different guys up forward kicking goals, and that's sort of what you want come finals time, that they're not predictable. So they do have a number of guys down there that can kick goals, but in the end they're looking for a few different options as well. Yeah,
they're certainly shaping up to make a really good fist of it in the finals in 2018. Sebastian Bacchus Marsh, well, the Cookers absolutely took it up to the Cobras. So I think the Cobras, fresh off a big win over the Lions, to get their season back on track, and the Cookers were desperate to keep its finals hopes alive, and I tell you what, they did a damn good job at trying to make that happen.
It is, and in the end I think Sebastian had one more scoring shot than Bacchus Marsh, but the Cobras' class showed through. In the end they won by 9 points, and they will play finals. They've moved back up to second on the ladder, where you want to be at this time of year, and in the end the Cobras aren't quite at full strength. I know they do have a couple of injuries, but you look, Riley Strildryer was named their best, and he's been one of the standouts for them this season. He's really taken that next step. And for the Boroughs, the final dream's over. They haven't played finals since 2000. They'll probably finish 7th,
Yep.
which is a massive improvement from where they have been in recent years. They've been, how many wooden spoons?
Oh,
if not
absolutely.
wooden spoons, they've been second last. So this is massive for the Boroughs. They would have loved to have played finals, but unfortunately don't quite get there. But massive signs for them going forward.
Big thing for them next year is to make sure that their players get plenty of goal kicking practice, because in crunch games, especially the previous week, they kicked 2 goals 9 in the first half. They've kicked 6-14 in that game there. If they turn that around and it's maybe 10 goals 10, well, they win the game. But poor kicking has cost them this year.
Exactly, and it comes down to it can cost you games as well. So you look, they have one more scoring shot, they lose by 9 points. You convert 2 of those into goals,
You
get the win.
Yeah. Spot on there. So that's plenty of confidence going forward. If that's just one of the little retweaks there against one of the powerhouse sides in the competition, I think that's fantastic for them. A great platform going forward. Their coach has re-signed again next year, and it's really, really exciting times down at Sebas. And the Sunday game over at Mars Stadium, North Ballarat City, did they flex their muscles or what when they took down Darley, who were fresh off the bye, and they've run into a City train that is just full of confidence.
Both of these sides have been looking for that top 2 spot, so this was an important game in context of that. And in the end, Darley, I think, slipped from 2nd to 4th to 5th.
Yeah.
To 5th, so that's a massive loss for them in the scheme of things. In the first quarter, North Ballarat were 26 points up, so I'm not sure what the wind was down there, but obviously they set it up in that first quarter, and Darley were never able to sort of get back into it. They had no multiple goal kickers as well, so they struggled to find a target up forward who could kick those goals for them. You had Sam Dunstan kick 5 for North Ballarat City at the other end, so you look at, there's a little bit of a difference there. They had a forward who could kick multiple goals, the Devils didn't.
Yeah, certainly. It was Sammy Dunstan starting to get back. He did make his way back through the reserves. He kicked 3 goals the previous week, backed it up with 5. Now we might get his partner in crime back for finals, because City do have the bye this week, and of course that's Will Young. You get both those boys firing. I want to be facing City in the first week of the finals.
I mean, look, it's going to be a hard final series to pick. I know East Point's probably been the standout, but you put East Point against Bacchus Marsh in that first week. That's an interesting first up final. But there's no guarantees that the Cobras are actually going to finish second, because they do have a tough last up match. So it's going to be a pretty interesting final series, and East Point will go in favourites, but there's nothing between the rest in that top 6.
Absolutely. If I was Sebas, I'd be looking at East Point going, well, we've made all this improvement. Imagine how good we could be next year, because East Point didn't have the losses that the Boroughs have had, but they just missed out on finals last year, and then they're able to just kick it up a notch. So it's exciting times ahead, but it is certainly exciting time coming up to the final round, which we will discuss later on in the week. Thanks to our friends at McDonald's who've been great supporters of us all year. Tara, thanks so much for jumping on board. We'll catch you later in the week.
Thanks for having me.